right, everybody, let's get to it on a Thursday. First person in today was Enrico. So, Enrico, you need to go, if you're not a basic member, go become a basic member so you can get your copy of Volume 3. You have to go access the basic membership page and then connect with Miss Stephanie on the Discord. Send her your information. You want a book. I'm going to give one more away. Today's going to be an abbreviated session. I got to get out of here in 30 minutes or less, or I'm in big trouble. So let's get to it. What's going on, chat? Boris, Notch, Fair, Grifflet, Bishal, It Flies, It Dies. Let's go. Let's go. Swooping Hawk, Evan, Jeffrey, LT, VJ. What's up? What are we going to do? We got to get real serious here. The return phase on major markets is in full swing, and I'm not really liking the, if you're looking for this thing to hold the June lows, if you're going to throw down some bets on that, I'd have to say the construction and everything that's developing here, it does not suggest this is going to happen. If anything, obviously yesterday was a major bearish reversal continuation engulfing pattern on Nasdaq, yes, but probably even more so on the Dow. And just want to highlight this and that are two extremely significant individual daily candles that spell of much lower prices. The simple fact that this happened and it was a 3-bar, 1, 2, 3-bar engulfing, and then you get another 1, 2, 3-bar engulfing. These are major signs. The 3-bar reversal is something we look at pattern completions, at important continuation areas, and with yesterday and today following through, no stop today, down 100 on Nasdaq. The Dow and the S&P look like they're ready to just give it up. S&P. And again, this macro environment, this macro climate will dictate everything. So, and again, I really think with the failure of crypto from 2 weeks ago to really give us anything and now rolling over, these are the major scenarios we would look for anyway. But the S&P futures chart says to me 3564 before I even want to think about a low. It's on S&P futures, we just trace it out. There's your type 1 with a bearish pattern, but then go back down for type 2. Minimum is 3774, and guess what? You're hitting that today. But that's just the 1618. Here's the zone. Big numbers were hit on a number of different assets. Variety of markets are hitting either yesterday or today. I know Microsoft hit a big checkback number, but that's just the starting point. 3775, 3774, 67 on the S&P futures. With an easy retest, no confirmation here. Nothing yet. I mean, not even close. HSI decided to go in, get oversold today. Looks like this. Let me blow up the chart. But early and still heading lower. So you are 2-3 days. I mean, take a look at the last couple of examples. How many days did that take? How many days did this take? How many days versus, say, something that just goes to the red line versus the teal line? Because this is looking like it wants to dive. The teal line is 0, and that's extremely oversold. And the same way we got extremely overbought in August. And look what that gave us. Pattern went to the hop level. And this is another thing I want to point out. It's been real tricky. Really tricky in the last couple of weeks, last 10 days. You did have a type 1. No confirmation really in any ideal spot, but it ping-ponging off the levels for S&P futures down to basically 3950. And then we went back to retest the 886, 3413, and no check back, but there is HSI. Your minimum target was 38.33, and it just keeps on sailing. So with these kind of moves, you ride the trend line. You expect this thing, when you really start to break free like this and break down past minimum target 2, because it is a type 2, you're going to wait for the next bullish HSI, which is almost there, probably 2 more days away, or obvious pattern or next set of levels. All of that is lower. Go back and retest all of the June levels, June, July, but the June levels are 37.35 on the S&P. And that's why we're seeing crypto do what it's doing. And again, the other major market, let me just show this quickly. I'll get into crypto in a second, but 2-year chart, folks. This is a chart I've been popping for weeks now. I'm going to have to go find the video where I basically said we are entering acceleration phase. Okay, with this breakout, massive. Yeah, there's a crab pattern now. You failed any little ABCD, what have you. But that, much like your 10-year yield, and this is the one where we had a big pattern on the weekly where 366 was the number, right? How many people remember 366? Guess what? We're here. 366 on the 10-year yield is a major hop level. And how do you play these? You hit the hop. Does that mean any resistance? No, not until we get confirmation. And confirmation is overbought, but we continue to expand. So let's start looking at 366. But if it goes higher, 380 or 4, don't be surprised. This is gonna, what it will do, and what I'm thinking where we are in all of this is we've entered that straight shot capitulation move, but we're early, where interest rates will spike or at least move higher in this new territory for years. I mean, all time for years, going back. What are we going back here? 2010, 2009, the last time we've been up here. And the thing is that we have a pattern. It paused. Now going for the hop, zero confirmation. It's going to take more time going up the predominant trend. So you expect that to continue until you get at least one bearish candle. This will continue to go up until you get one bearish candle. But 366 has been achieved. Also, go back to the 2-year chart of what we have sketched out for a long time. This now seems easy. Remember, we were saying that this thing is really taking on more of a shark formation up at that 465 level. Okay, that's, again, these patterns connect the dots. As long as that goes, as long as that interest rate scenario continues to spike, okay, that's your pressure on the markets. Nasdaq just looks like a duck. I mean, it just looks like an absolute floundering back down to retest. You know, the big crab pattern we've talked about looks like this. Here's on the daily. All right, there's the crab. Remember 11,848? We were saying that on Nasdaq as a minimum level for the hop. Like butter, not even close. These are the signs where the breakdown and failure and even that little gyration, that type 1, type 2 move, now leading to, really threatening to destroy this entire pattern formation, where this whole thing is just like a dud, and then you're retesting these prior lows. And that's down, that's another 500 lower. I mean, immediately. This is not screwing around. It doesn't want to, it's just sellers are absolutely ruling the roost here. The rejection of the downtrend line from August, devastating. And I've said this before, there's a dang good chance this thing turns into yet another 1618 extension. Okay, puts you around 92.63. And I'll say it again, under this 11.5, 11.8, even if you want to wait and be super conservative and say under 11,000, folks, under 11,000, it might as well be under 9,000 or down there towards the eights, because there is nothing here. And this would be, if you were going to shoot the gap and do some kind of major capitulation in the next 30 days, and down to your all-time 886 at 77, 7,800, you would do this quickly. Yet, here's the other thing, if we continue to grind, let's say we break down and the weekly chart's super clean to show this. Okay, you break under the low, and we talked about why the BAMM, bat action magnet move, is so critical where we are. We're going to take out these weekly lows now and continue lower. Yeah, that's Microsoft, by the way. Here's the daily chart on Microsoft. And we're back in the zone. Remember, 241.60 was a number we've been waiting for last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And you're down there. Show me a bullish candle. I mean, this is where waiting on it, especially on the type 2, first time you enter the zone and you're there on a retest. Okay, enter the zone, hit the 1618. Where does that happen? 2 days ago. Here's the zone. Check it out. So 241.60 was Monday. Hit, bounced. Where's the confirmation? And we have this massive bearish engulfing after this huge drop. Okay, it's a 3-bar breakdown as well. But HSI is back in the zone now. Let's see what it's going to do. Let's see what Microsoft wants to do here. Are you gonna do anything to alleviate what has happened over the last couple of weeks by giving some kind of signal, some kind of initial reaction out of the zone? Again, 241.60 is the minimum number, but we know, and we're targeting this larger zone, basically 221 to 241. That's a $20 zone. And we know that it'll take probably 2 or 3 bars after the thing triggers before it really checks back and does everything it needs to do. So that's where you are in this tech wreck, meltdown, breakdown, crash down, malaise. Talked about the malaise last August, and here it is in full bloom. You fail these levels, you fail your 886s, your of the June levels, you know, it's going to be a long 2023. Here's Apple, and again, this is why I think it's probably more time. Apple, same deal as Microsoft, it's just not nearly as far down the rabbit hole to get back to your 131, 1618 from June. Not to mention nothing. Look, this is a great way. I know it's not easy during these times, and markets are going to shit, and crypto and everything has been very disappointing, even at beautiful spots that we typically would salivate at, and they're just not working out. They're harmonic duds. It's stuff like this in Apple too, where, look, we had a big thrust from September, but you can't even get above the 50 line on HSI. And that's just the last couple of months off of that bearish pattern. I still say 131. You have to get these big boys to line up if you're going to get the major markets and even crypto and the rest of it to turn around. These other larger stocks have to get in position. I haven't looked at this in a while, and I think a lot of people have written this one off. But Netflix is probably another sell, folks. Take a look at this garbage. Let's forget everything from the left of the chart. Let's just take a look at the pattern itself. What are you going to do with that thing? You never saw Netflix before. You never knew it was 600 or whatever the all-time high. What are we doing with that? First one to tell me what's right. what's the right move on this one will win. Hey, Mitch Ray is in the house. What's up, Mitch? I need to talk to you, man. I'll call you later today. I've had a couple of things happen. I'm still going to Vegas. I got to tell you, I got some rearrangement on my travels. I'll call you later. But great to see you. Thanks for joining the chat today. Everybody, Mitch Ray, the one and only, is in the chat. Give him a shout out, man. Give Mitch Ray a shout out. That dude did an 8-hour stream a couple nights ago on the major breakdown, and really great reads, man. Just really, you are really reading this market well. But yeah, okay, Sal, Costa, you won a book already, buddy. You already won a book, so let's go with Lamb's World. Costa, do send me a note when you get that book, by the way, and I would appreciate if everyone, when you get your book, give me a little shout out on Twitter or something. Lamb's Word, you win a book. Sell Mortimer, sell. Exactly. I mean, come on. Netflix is back here. Now let's get some perspective, because your beautiful crab, it's not exact. It's a real close to a type 2. But now let's look at it relative to what has happened. And you would, now if we draw this out, we'd say, oh my God, well, that doesn't mean much, because it was 700. It was 700 less than a year ago. All right. And what I'm saying is treat it the same way, because Netflix, let's get real with like all of these that have gone public in the last decade. Okay. Netflix is doing just the first all-time all 886 cycle. All 886. Talk to me at $87 on Netflix. That we're back at that market. We are back at that market. So now what do you think of that crab pattern? What do you think of that crab pattern on the daily? Looks like a massive continuation, just like a lot of those other ones that bamboozled crypto, and those little mini patterns are turning out to be little devils and vicious continuation structures. You close under 235.90, folks, on Netflix. That's your 3-bar reversal. Here's the other one, of course, that had a similar little mini pattern and then just kind of tanked or continued to tank. Meta. Well, Meta has this big crab, but where is it going? Meta's going to 116, folks, minimum. This is what we have to kind of understand has happened. You had your stretch, reaction, retest, confirmation in that window, and it became a dud. All of that became a dud. How many patterns have we seen become duds? With crabs. Okay, it's like that. I think Meta is probably in one of the nastiest downtrends of any of these markets, where 116. And if it holds there, again, here we come back to our big metrics where, the weekly's even better. There's the weekly chart. I like that on Meta, and that says 97. I don't care if it's 116 or 97. That thing is going a lot lower, going back to your lows, 220, 2020 COVID lows, or even lower. A lot of work down at 120, easy, but nothing here that would. That's a beautiful pattern, but that's just not ready in any sort of sense to be an actionable pattern. There's a dud reaction, rolls over, fails. Even if you took your first shot way back here at 158, you spent 10 weeks sideways. Hey, Claire, sure. Claire really enjoyed the conversation last week. I'll have to post that in my Twitter. We had a great conversation with some people that Claire knows. I'll do Adobe. Here's Adobe on the weekly. It's probably the same deal. Oh, look at these. Right at the top at the weekly, but the daily, I'm pretty sure, isn't there something on here, a bat? The most recent bat, another August bat. Okay, here you go. I think this is a good example of what's going to happen when the retest fails. Take it like this. How many of these crab to bat situations have we seen? And so we're essentially doing the type 1 reaction, and then you come all the way back down. And I would say we're like here or we're like here on the major markets for where we are so far. And if we get this, an absolute blowout, blow through the zone like Adobe did, oh, that's where the second leg on all the markets is going to take place. This is the exact kind of thing that if we see it, okay, bear market until easily, I'm going to say 8-10 months from now, go well into next year on a bear market. It takes all of these down to the levels that we have talked about. Adobe, geez, this looks like a lot of those Teledoc and DocuSigns. I mean, that could just be starting a second leg now. And just remember, don't get crazy, but understand that this second leg, that's really what we're talking about, is the second leg of the bear market has started 3 weeks ago. Okay, maybe a month ago, depending on where you are, and will get you down to stuff like that. Yeah, I think it is. I really think it is, as Captain Price says, it's a stage of disbelief from the bubble. Yeah, it's a bubble. Look, if we all can admit that COVID was just a massive inflated bubble, and that has to be given back, that's the price it has to pay, then you understand where we are. And if we get more, which is likely, then you take out COVID lows. I don't care what market you're looking at. Here's DocuSign, another, I think this was a Cathie Wood favorite for a while, and I'll get to Cathie Wood in a second. But take a look. All the way back down, and this one you're below the 886. This is like Zoom. Look at the Zoom thing. Here's Zoom video, massive bat pattern. No confirmation. Don't touch it. Nothing. No confirmation. What's the daily here? I think there's something down here in the daily. I looked at that zone at about 100 and it was nothing. Absolutely nothing. Really nothing here. I mean, these kind of charts, what they look like to me, they look like .com stocks. They look like .com stocks that want to go back and retest whatever the initial low was back there, and then some. Yeah, I agree. I think, if you weren't going to do something over 10-week time frame of going sideways, kiss 120, and then roll back over, jeez. Here's the other one, this Teledoc. Remember, we were all going to see our doctors virtually for the rest of our lives. 280 down to 27. That probably goes out of business. That probably, there's nothing there. Unless you want to keep selling it down every bearish HSI, which is probably not a bad idea. Just go pick up some puts. And because we just generated another bearish HSI up there around 30, like these two and that one. Tough to see that that's even an opportunity on the short side. But if there's nothing there, and there's, trust me, nothing there, it's just in the process of doing another 1618. Teledoc is another one of these things, but when it all hits and you're scraping down 17, sure. Do a 1618 if that was into a low, and you're registering oversold, overbought again. These concept stocks, and let's go to the concepts queen herself, Ark Invest. Yeah, we did have some big patterns. This is weekly. Here's your weekly chart. Look at that bat pattern. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, full 886, everything at $45. No confirmation. Let me go to the 2-day. I don't know what's going on the weekly here. There you go. The 2-day shows it. You had some confirmation back in May and June, and it's another one that does a harmonic dud, sideways in the zone, where you can't even get out of the zone, and you go sideways for how many weeks? 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 something, 5. Yeah, okay, SARK is the opposite of that. Sure, that's probably going up. Here's the SARK. Yeah. So that's the short on that. Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 short. 1-for-1 short. Oh, geez, look at that. Okay, we need to pay attention to this puppy. Did have a nice pattern in that. Look at that. Real shame. Very close to being a perfect type 2. Check this out. I'll keep an eye on this SARK thing. You did hit target 1. No HSI. You failed to hit the 786 ABCD by a fraction, a dollar. Well, keep an eye on that. If it maybe came back for the retest, but maybe it wants to go. I think it's tough. I think it's tough. It's definitely not warranting anything yet. I mean, I would want to see, your days of bullish candles away from even thinking about anything turning around. And that's not happening. All right, let's jump over. I've got to run really soon. So let's jump quickly to Bitcoin, Ethereum. And I guess Ethereum wants to be the poster child from now on. But the Ethereum, folks, is just the BAMM. And I'm going to flash a couple of quick patterns, and I'll come back to this on Monday. But listen, all of this is falling ideally to seal the deal on the big bat pattern that triggered, breakdown under 1500, 1480 area, and then clear under 1430. Now we're just in a straight shot. That is back at around at about 1,000. Just call it 1,000. Call it 1,000. So 1,000 for that full retest, I wouldn't even consider it. And then that gets you the rest of your crypto. I mean, it's Bitcoin wants to really basically try to hold here. Now, we do have some things I want to talk about on Monday, which a couple of shark patterns that generated recently. Here's a good one, Binance data feed, right at 18,000. For those that have the software, you know what, this might do a dance here in the zone, but what it only does is affirms the fact that any close below these prior closes seals the deal for, I think, minimum is at 886, but I'm going to put this out there from now on because it's going to be on the close under 18 as you go to the hop or some kind of major test of the hop, which is 8730. We know the weekly numbers are about 11,005. That's how weak this is. That's how ugly this is. That's why that breakdown from 10 days ago was so nasty. A very difficult scenario. But it's just another situation where the only thing for these to do, if they're going to fail and they're going to give you duds here and not give you confirmation, is to just go deeper into the zone. And that's where we are. It's not where you want to be, but that's where you are in the second leg of this bear market. When it begins this week, next week, is where real problems do emerge, where all this nonsense of people talking everything's okay is not right. But we'll get into that Monday. Folks, I need to run. I'm sorry, family matters. But until Monday, everyone have a great one. I'll be back on Monday, and we will address all of this stuff. So until then, have a great one. As always,